Fuel the jet. Says we've been live for 17 minutes, boss.
Stop what you're doing. Stop scrolling. Welcome to the broadcast. I will allow my esteemed colleagues to introduce themselves, starting with this gentleman right here.
The roaming prepper from the great and somewhat soggy state of Texas today. Not the desert as I expected, more like a bayou with scorpions.
Yeah, and I would be that guy. If you don't recognize me, it's because I'm in a rabbit hole. I have no clue when I'm coming out, but welcome and good evening. Let's go.
Howdy, everybody. I am Mike, founder and host of Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival. We got a website, affiliate links. I'm pushing Meshtastic on people like a drug dealer. That's what's going on, man. That's what's going on. I got Vision hooked. He's digging for the wallet. See, it happens. Got one.
Keys, flashlights. You can have everything. Except no.
That was easy.
I'll tell you what wasn't so easy, Michael, is as the Lord of the Manor, I have noticed that the way things were done in the past were simply inefficient and not cost effective. That people had, they were allowed to congregate in public, unsupervised, unsurveilled. They thought that what we would do is come into their houses and drill holes in their walls and put up cameras, but instead, we just gave them these. We logged them into our servers. They transmit their neurosis, their deepest thoughts. They go into comment sections and they think they're fighting a rebellion by posting their opinions on social media. The stranglehold that the Manor has managed to actually get on people, I think, is lost on them. And it's why I've brought you gentlemen here, because I thought that of all the unwashed, uneducated peasants that I see out my window when I look across the glorious metropolis that is the Livingston Manor, I found 3 people worthy of having this discussion, of the many thousands. Don't worry, I'm not talking down to you, viewer. Without us, there would be no you, and without you, there would be no us. We do, in fact, have this unfortunate symbiotic relationship that turns my stomach a little bit, but in fact, we need each other. So, gentlemen, I think that this peasantry believes that they have a certain set of rights, 10 of them to be specific, although your United States Constitution allows for more, but everyone clings, they hide behind it like a bulletproof veil against government tyranny. They got this piece of parchment that gives them these inalienable rights that the founding fathers gave them.
Wait a second. The inalienable rights were not gifts from the founding fathers.
Correct.
Those rights are inherent from God, my friend. That comes from a slightly higher power than government, shall we say. So that's a very important distinction that we need to get out of the way, like right away. Those rights come from God, not from man.
Correct. And I agree, and you're correct.
Just saying. Sorry.
Let's start with everyone's favorite, the First Amendment.
We the people.
I have the right to say whatever I want as long as I'm in public. As long as my speech is not hateful or inciting to violence, and I'm not sure the amendment even says all that. You have this right, correct? You can go anywhere you want and say whatever you want as long as you're not inciting hatred or violence, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you can. The First Amendment protects your freedom of speech, the press, the religion, assembly, your freedom to petition the government. It goes a lot deeper than just freedom to say what you want. Not only can you say it, you can print it, you can pray about it, you can gather together and talk about it, right? And you can petition the government and say, hey, we think you suck. The First Amendment, it's a little bit more than just free speech.
Yeah.
I've done my research here, gentlemen, and I feel completely justified to tell you, unless anyone else would care to weigh in. But do we agree that, like, let's, for the sake of the argument here, I'm not testing you guys, and I actually kind of hate this format because I broke the rules and let you know what I was going to talk about, and now I'm in a position where I know the answers, and they're not answers, my opinion as well, to what I'm saying. But here's the thing. Your First Amendment rights actually stop where private property begins. You cannot go to a Walmart or public is not what you think. Public is the town square, municipally owned spaces. But that's not where the town square is anymore, gentlemen. The town square is right here on StreamYard, Facebook, and Instagram. Those are privately held companies. I'm not going to censor what you said. I'm going to call my friends at that company and say that you violated the community standards.
Okay.
Well, one could argue there have always been community standards since the inception of the Republic. For example, you mentioned hate speech or inciting violence. I can go, the classic saying there's a fire in a theater. That's not inciting violence, but it causes undue harm to others. So it becomes a question of at what point does my speech and my ideas flowing via my speech become dangerous to others? And then it becomes a slippery slope, right? Because someone can say, well, as we've seen on TV, your opinion is against mine, therefore it is violence. Well, who defines that? See, and what we're seeing is a convolution of the original intent, in my opinion.
You touched on an interesting point there, because the second spear of the manor's control over the people is that we don't have to censor anyone at all. They do it to each other through cancel culture and a bunch of brouhaha because we all of a sudden don't like someone's opinion, and the next thing they are fired, they are canceled, they are removed from society. You guys do it to yourselves. The manor doesn't have to lift a finger. We bake this into the algorithm. Censorship is done completely at your own will. The government doesn't need to step in. We do it to ourselves.
It's an interesting point. I went to the Holocaust Museum in Dallas, which, if you ever go to Dallas, it's 2 blocks from Dealey Plaza, so you can hit all sorts of exciting places in one go-round. And one of the things that floored me, and that didn't just cover the Holocaust of the Jews, but all these various genocides in Africa and in South America, collaborators. And when people censor each other unnecessary, not because, hey, this guy's saying we should burn some house down, but, oh, he hurt my feelings. Are we collaborating in our own demise? Are we gifting Big Brother a token and saying, hey, look, he's out of the box. Trainer Mike, one of these guys, are out of the box. And to your point, then we get the slippery slope. Who decides? Who's the adjudicator of the judgment? And we don't know. What's the algorithm? What person is that?
The court of public opinion, right? I mean, I guess that's kind of where we are now. Is
we do not. The manor does not lift a finger. As I said, you police yourselves. You cancel contextual thought. As soon as someone steps outside of the box they're supposed to be in, you swarm like bees and erase it. We don't have to do anything.
Point.
And when you create a binodal government like we have now, you always have your opposition. So they just peck at each other and incite their people to do the same.
And this is just the First Amendment, but do you see how quickly actually its language is simply weaponized against you? I've come out and said that the First Amendment ought to say you have the right to remain silent. It's the only thing that might protect you. You upload your data to our servers every day. Do you know? Oh, because there's so many other amendments, and every single one of them, you would be so interested. You got to stick around for this episode because we're going to loop a whole all of them. What the large print giveth, I promise you that the fine print takes it very efficiently. You're going to find out. We're only on the first one here. Do you guys want to move on to the second?
Yeah, bring it on.
Yes,
Bring it on.
Now, the Second Amendment is very clear. I bet you Mike can recite it from heart. He's got that shit tattooed on his crotch.
I don't want to know how that happened. That's
I don't need
painful to think about.
I believe being necessary to a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Something about a well-regulated militia.
Oh yeah, well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Now, taken on its face, when you read this, it says that you shall not infringe on the right of the people to have guns as long as they are an organized militia.
No. You have to go. You got to backtrack it a little bit here. You need the definition of militia, and the definition of the militia at that time period was all able-bodied men.
Yes.
Do you remember what I said about context? We don't do that here. We're looking at pure language, and so as I have learned from the past, you can't just run up and take their guns. They always fucking resist you about that. Pain in the ass, costs money, costs ammo. It's a life and limb, all this. I got to get loyal guys to go take these dudes' guns, and they put on masks and try to burn my house down. Been here. Learned from the past. You know what I'm going to do? Does anyone else want to weigh in on the Second Amendment? Because I thought Pete would come out for this hard too. Being from the Republic of Texas.
So it's interesting because the National Guard in its current form wasn't the National Guard until 1933. It was right after World War I that the state militias became National Guard. But it didn't prohibit the states from still having a militia. There are 28 states that have the National Guard and the State Guard. Texas is one of them.
New York actually has a New York Guard.
They're the
sure what they
Defense
do.
Force, the SDF of New York. So does Pennsylvania. Some take a civil defense role. They kind of backfill the old civil defense. Others actually train parallel to National Guard units all the way across. So it's interesting. But in both cases, even in the State Guard here, it is regulated. We report up a chain of command to a general who reports to the commander of all Texas military, who reports to the governor and the lieutenant governor.
Now, where was all that written into? Like, the Second Amendment is like one fucking sentence. They were like, apparently to them, they were like, this is perfectly clear and interpretable. But then, so
it's the context, like you said.
Now, and what we have always sought to do is to eliminate context. There is option A or there is B. And if you are for A, you hate B, and vice versa. There is no other way of thinking. We have striven to reduce the playing field to simply everything is two-dimensional. Trent, do you want to weigh in on your so-called Second Amendment rights before I destroy those two?
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I have them legally. I'm keeping them legally. If you come and try to take them, you may get them, but you're not going to just get them if you're picking up what I'm laying down. Plain and simple. I don't care about context. I don't care about rhetoric. As long as I obtain them legally, I'm keeping them legally. End of discussion. This is a hill I will stand on and or lie down on and not breathe anymore. Plain and simple. I'll leave it at that.
I appreciate your thoughts on that. Noted. I'll send extra backup. I'll send bachelors. Now, see, I'm not going to do all that. That costs capital. Like I said, costs brave men, costs ammunition. It's a whole thing. I'm not going to bother with all that. I'm not even going to make a law. Okay. I'm just going to simply delegate that responsibility to a so-called quote unquote alphabet agency.
Okay.
I'm going to let them distribute guidance as to and definitions of what certain parts of your little thing that you got there is, means, and its intent. And then I'm going to just classify that as I see fit. There's no Congress. There is no law. I'm just going to say that that's what is now. And you will perhaps overnight become a felon. But
I gotta tell you, this sounds an awful lot like living in New Yorkistan.
we're only on the second, Mike. Wait.
Yeah. I'm hanging in there.
That was the easy fix. The easy fix to the Manners Penal Code was to simply redefine what certain words mean. And it was that easy. Your Second Amendment, and never mind the fact that it always triggers a Supreme Court battle, and everybody's they're outside the office building in the winter on Sunday. Never take our goods. Nobody's there. Stop yelling at the building. We don't work on weekends. We're Livingstons. Please, peasants. God. I had to go to work. I couldn't go on Monday. I know. That's why we did that. Do you see what's being done to you? Do you see that we're only on the Second Amendment? And do you realize the level of manipulation that we bring to bear on you? We're only at 2 here.
And also
the Third Amendment. Now, here's one that everybody says this is the only one they haven't violated. Does anyone know what the Third Amendment even fucking is? It means they can't quarter troops in your house. Now, we can universally agree that you may not quarter troops in my house, correct?
Well, sure, except the military is made up of the people, so inadvertently people do quarter troops in their home every single day, Livingston.
The argument's not that simple. That would be one thing. Not your son who's in the military, not your National Guard husband. You know what I mean? Think about how troops might actually be allowed to be quartered in your home. Because they can. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you how.
The great play that they love to pull on us is a national emergency, right?
Yep.
That's one right there. I've seen troops enter people's homes unlawfully, and in some cases without being invited in Boston during the search for the bombers there.
Yeah.
So I've seen.
So they're entering your home to perform a search, but they're not living there. Quartering troops means they have to live there as they occupy.
Well,
okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, is there not an implication that if they compensate you, for instance, if you have acreage and you're like, well, you may pitch your tent there, and the state has to compensate you fairly.
They don't have that much money.
What?
They don't have that much money.
But I thought there was a caveat. I may be wrong.
The caveat is that if you change the color of their uniform to blue, they're not soldiers, they're law enforcement. If perhaps law enforcement deemed your car, house, anything, it's called commandeering. I'm commandeering this vehicle. I am commandeering this house. I need your upstairs window to set up a sniper position.
No.
I need you actually, your Third Amendment at this point now evaporates as well, because it's not soldiers, it's law enforcement, and it's the language is clear. You have
armed government agents is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Soldiers versus law enforcement.
So can they be treated such as intruders? And therefore, the castle doctrine kicks in, and the right to protect those within my dwelling.
Do you know that we also engineered I'm glad you brought this up. See, it's like I love talking to you guys because the castle doctrine was a beautiful piece of engineering. What we did was make it where people feared their neighbors and the stranger. Did that on purpose. It's useful when it is, but the majority of the time people misuse it and misinterpret it, just like everything else I've already laid out before you. You guys want to know how your Fourth Amendment right straight up don't even exist anymore?
Yeah, that's gone. It's flushed right down the toilet. Paper shredder and set on fire.
What we did here was genius, but I don't want to talk the whole time and just keep one up on you guys. One of y'all must have a pitch for Trent. Is the pet food ready?
The pet food is this close from being done. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, what we have done was, for our special blend for pet food, we have taken all of our current available series and lines of food, added some toes and fingers, and produced the highest amount of protein for your pet ever.
You see what it does to colon Titus.
You see, the living legend of Titus, 8 months old, 100 pounds, 3 feet tall, and growing tremendously.
He's a giant.
Never mind what it does for you as the person. I'm 215 years old. I've seen
Titus is going to be 215 years old.
Come and go.
Yes, folks, you can't miss it. We all talk about prepping and stacking food and 30 years shelf lives and all this. Our pet supply line is unlimited sustainability. It will last till the end of time. There'll be 2 things left on the planet: roaches and our pet food. That's it. There is no.
The roaches are going to eat the pet food and like usher in a whole new the bug era.
Yeah,
like
the Uber roach.
Don't miss it, folks.
Now, the Fourth Amendment was super easy to kill off. Now, the Fourth Amendment protects you against unwarranted and unreasonable searches and seizures of your property. This one was so easy to get around that it's ridiculous. Now, almost anyone knows, you ever been pulled over by the police and stuff, there's going to be some fucking cop-loving motherfuckers in here. It's cool. I appreciate you. It's fine. But, the thing is that when you're dealing with the police, it's anything you say can and will be used against you and shit. And that's all I'm saying. That's a basic right. They'll tell you, so don't hate. Let me do the hating here. They can't just come in your house. They can't just do that. They can't just know things about you. They got to get a warrant. They got to go before a judge. They got to present probable cause. Correct?
To an extent, right? To an extent. I think in a vehicle or a home, if something is in plain sight that would make them question their safety, they can enter immediately. Like if you come to the door and open the door and you've got a rifle sitting on the table, they're like, "Oh, hey man, can I secure that rifle before we continue this conversation? I just want to make sure it's safe. I'm safe. You're safe." And then they'll go in your home. Same with a vehicle. If things are in plain view, it gives them probable cause right then and there. So food for thought, you know.
And they're trained to finagle their way around.
They're trained to lie. Let's keep it right.
Well,
Let's keep it right.
not even
They're
lie.
trained to lie.
They're trying to get you to. They're trying to get you to trip up.
Yes.
Some are, yeah, but or to agree to something because you don't understand the way they're verbalizing it.
Mhm.
In my case, this happened a few years ago. I was speeding. You know, I own that. And I got pulled over by a state trooper, and of course he runs my plates. I have a carry permit, so he's assuming I have a firearm. So he comes to the window, respectful, of course. "Hey, how are you? You know why I pulled you over?" "No, not really. I'm trying to get to my kid at the high school." So he says, "Okay, you were speeding. Can you exit the vehicle?" "Sure." So I exit the vehicle. "Do you have a firearm?" "Yes, I do. Right side hip holster." He said, "Okay, I'm going to secure your firearm so it's out of the equation." Fair enough. So now, mind you, this is the only time this has happened. I've been pulled over by cops. I'll tell them, they're like, "Well, don't touch yours. I won't touch mine." And they
Right. I'm just getting ready to say that.
99% of them. But this guy,
yes,
this guy took my firearm to his vehicle. We spoke, and he's like, "Look, I'm going to give you a warning. You don't have anything. You know, we ran your plates. Whatever. You can go about your business. I'm going to return your vehicle. Just wait by my car." What he did, he said, "I'm going to separate the magazine from the pistol, and I'll leave one part here and one part there." Okay, fair. So he takes my firearm, he clears it, he puts that in my trunk. He takes the mag and puts it in my console. He's returning my firearm, but he got to see what was in my trunk and what was in my console.
exactly.
Now, if he's returning the vehicle and I had, I don't know, something X in there that was not allowed, justifiable.
Right.
Now I'm in cuffs.
Hi, Baba.
Now it's interesting to sort of pervasively now police are trained to, you know, I don't want to say they're trained to escalate the situation, but I'm gonna say they're kind of trained to like, well, try and find something, you know.
Yes.
No shade toward law enforcement here, but it's your training. Your job is to like get the bad guy, and the bad guys lie and hide shit. I get it, but what you're describing here are physical altercations with police when there's a much broader one that we already thought of. All right. It's called the third party clause. And it renders everything that you gentlemen said irrelevant. All you got to do, post a picture of your bag of weed or your favorite little piece on the internet as Livingston Manor Police Department. I can simply contact my big tech bros and purchase that information from them, and it can be used against you in court of law because third parties are not protected from the Fourth Amendment, only first parties. As a police officer, I cannot violate your rights, but because you have signed that terms of service and agreed to those community agreements, I can now petition that company, purchase that data, and know what I need to know about you. That Fourth Amendment law, that don't even exist. If you sign the terms of service, you might be surprised what you gave away.
That's where you're wrong. See, anything repugnant to the Constitution is null and void.
Oh, is it?
Oh, it is. It is. Well, herein lies the problem, Livingston Man, is the politicians know. Politicians know that it takes 5 to 7 years to fight something all the way up to the level of the Supreme Court, right?
Of course I do. And we have more money than you.
And when it gets there, it's found unconstitutional, just like New York State gun laws were found unconstitutional by the Supreme Court and rendered null and void by the Supreme Court. So
you still refer to it as the People's Republic of New York, as if
because the very next day they just write crazier new laws that are worse than the ones before it. And they know damn well they're unconstitutional, and they don't care because it's going to take 5 to 7 years and millions of dollars for you to fight this in this court and that court and this court and that court and get shot down here and shot down there and shot down here before you'll be able to appeal to the Supreme Court, and then they can issue another ruling. And by then, it's not my problem anymore because I'm not the governor and I ain't got to worry about it.
Right.
Yeah. I think that we're making the same point with different words, but that's exactly my strategy, Mike, is that I have more money than you and I have better lawyers than you. And we can play this game all day where, yeah, okay, I'll call you a felon this morning. The Supreme Court will say, oh, no, you're not. But tomorrow morning, you're going to be a felon again. I promise you. How long will it go on? And further to the point is that the overarching attitude I'm trying to bring here is that what Mike always says, what you allow is what will continue. And from where I'm sitting, everyone actually finds this system actually more perhaps oppressive if you really think about it, but it's so convenient. It works so easy. Just get the app. Just give them your data. Just hit accept. I mean, I can't use it if I don't hit accept, right? You got to hit accept. Does anybody else want to speak on the topic before we move to everyone's favorite, the Fifth Amendment?
No, I don't think so. We're ready. We're ready.
Let's go.
The Fifth Amendment says that you cannot be like coerced or otherwise made to incriminate yourself. Even when asked a direct question in a courtroom, did you do it? You have a constitutional right to say, no, I'm not going to answer that question. Now it's inalienable. Of course, who would? So it's awesome the founders like kind of thought of that. They're like, you can't be like made to say you did it. A coerced confession is basically what they're saying. You can't like thumb screw somebody until they told you what you want to hear. That's practicable, right? We've seen it done. Mark Furman did it. Mad famous court cases. They pleaded the Fifth. What does that mean to you, though, when someone does that? It's not supposed to be an admission of guilt, but doesn't everybody, kind of the court of public opinion says, yeah, it is.
Well, things could get twisted, and anything you put out in public, i.e. social media, a book, an article, an opinion piece in the local newspaper, technically is now in the public venue. So you can say, well, I plead the Fifth. I'm not going to answer whatever lawyer's question of me. But they can read into the record of that same courtroom, well, on this date, you wrote this article, and this implies this. Now, you either argue with him or you say, I plead the Fifth. And they'll just continue to go through other stuff. Also, they've kind of publicly made it so that anyone who pleads the Fifth is immediately suspicious.
Yeah, totally. Yep. I agree. I agree with Pete. I think that they skew it that the court of public opinion it's almost an admission of guilt when you plead the Fifth. The Fifth Amendment also protects people against double jeopardy, being tried for the same crime twice. Yep. What else does the Fifth Amendment do? I think you get compensation if your property is taken. That eminent domain thing that they like to do. Yeah, you're supposed to be compensated for anything that they take from you.
We found a way around that too, but I don't want to speak too soon.
Yeah, but their definition of what the value is versus
fair market value.
Yeah.
Honorable people, this is kind of almost a societal conditioning thing, but yes, in almost any event, whether it's Mark Furman, Hillary Clinton, or whoever it is, pleading the Fifth, you're automatically like, this is bullshit. They did it.
I think there's also the your spouse can't testify against you as well, right? If you're married, I think
that's correct. Not written into the Fifth Amendment. That's a different penal code.
Okay.
But yeah, your Fifth Amendment isn't so much dead as it's just not taken seriously. That's been bred out of people. We have been conditioned to believe, in my opinion, that as soon as someone pleads the Fifth, it's fishy at best, guilty as a motherfucker at worst. It never looks good when it's done.
True story.
Exactly.
So I think that the conditioning around what it was originally supposed to be is that you cannot be tortured into a confession is instead, as soon as you invoke that right, you must have done it, because otherwise, why wouldn't you just say, no, I didn't?
Perjury.
And so, to Mike's point, so faced with that, now you're talking about almost double jeopardy, but in the court of public opinion.
Mm.
He won't say he didn't do it, so he must be guilty. But that seems like a kind of perversion of what the thing was supposed to do. When in my interpretation is that what you cannot be tortured into a confession, but instead it's turned into, well, as soon as you said that, we knew you did it.
Yeah.
I like to think that we have kind of been proven the point here of this could go as deep as you want it to, whether it's that like life is simply a simulation. It's marketing. It's marketing is what it is. It's what big bold headlines that say, "Hey, you get this, and it's we're the land of the free, bro." But then when you start reading the fine print, we're only 5 in, and we're like, "Fucking ain't none of that shit hold up." Yet actually it signed it all away. The terms of service, fucking bullshit. It's why YouTube censors you, why Facebook won't show people your posts. It's because of that third party doctrine, is that as soon as you did that, now the digital space we're in now, whether it's StreamYard, Facebook, your classic social media, that's private property in a digital realm. So it's like Walmart. You can't go in there and say what you want. Your First Amendment doesn't really exist, but that's the only platform to stand on, except that you're not allowed to. You can go to your public park and hold your sign and say your thing. But interestingly enough, you can't actually go on social media and drop a hot take, because it's not actually a constitutionally protected right. Because of private property and intellectual property. It's their space. You are the tenant here.
I would argue that the Walmartians will go and do bizarre things at Walmart that I'm not sure are protected under the Constitution, but it does inflict the rest of us with trauma.
There used to be 24-hour Walmarts.
Walmartians.
Walmart. I like that.
We had 24-hour Walmarts, and we would go there in the middle of the night, and we would like take the tires and like roll them down the aisles and play games, pissing the employees off. They didn't get paid enough. They still don't. Your Sixth Amendment, Trent. You've been awful quiet, brother. What's wrong?
I'm just taking it all in because I've been down this road, and I have learned that if they want you, they're going to get you one way or another.
Unless you're a Walmartian.
Absolutely nothing wrong.
We don't want to come and get you. The ones that be coming and get you is Livingston and Vision Meatpacking.
That is true. We will come. We won't even come on the property. We stay within the public domain of the street and just drive slow. And all you have to do is toss it out on your driveway. We will pick it up from the curb and put it in our trucks and drive away.
By tossing the bag into the back of the truck, you consent to the terms of service. You see how this works.
Exactly.
Our Sixth Amendment, if I am not mistaken, guarantees us to a speedy trial by a jury of our peers.
In the public. And it also guarantees you legal counsel, knowing the charges that are being brought against you, and you can provide witnesses, and you have a right to face your accuser.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. I have to step away for a minute. Michael, will you pitch perhaps either your first aid course or the Zulu 24?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Please?
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Big trouble in Little Livingston. This very weekend, only a handful of days away, Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival is headed to Zulu 24 for their Milsim Airsoft Day. It's an introduction to Milsim, so it's Milsim without the Milsim price. Basic entry fee is $35. Rental airsoft guns are available. First come, first served basis. They expect to be extremely busy, so call ahead and reserve one if you're planning on coming out. Zulu 24 is in New Windsor, New York. I will be there early, getting things set up and getting ready to go. And we'll be there all day, playing some airsoft, having some fun, practicing some tactics, learning how to work with strangers, and trying to pull everybody together to get some objectives done, right? I mean, there's like capture the flag and things like that. And you've got to work with strangers in most cases to get this done. So it's a great skill building exercise, great team building exercise. And then the following weekend, CPR First Aid AED at Strategic ETC headquarters in Queensbury, New York. This is for all the northern New Yorkers. If you're up north, Queensbury is the place for you. I'm trying to bring them right down through the valley this year. So Queensbury is the first one. CPR AED, first aid, naloxone training, and stop the bleed. 5 certs, 1 day. The link is on Facebook. Get there and sign up now. Still a couple seats left.
On a side note, if you're going to paintball or airsoft and you have not done that in a hot minute because you might have gray in your hair somewhere, be sure to stretch and maybe hit the treadmill a little bit beforehand, because you will go in a dead sprint and pull a hammy, and then you will face plant. Not only will they pelt you and you will die, but then they'll have to pause the game and carry you off the field.
Yeah, that's no fun.
Or they'll use you as a sandbag and they'll hide behind your body and you'll get pelted more for no reason. So
no. Brothers would do that with my dead corpses. Like use me as a bullet sponge, dude. Fuck it. What am I pissed? The Sixth Amendment. This took a bit longer. Is anyone else on after us tonight that I should rep? Because maybe we'll go like 5-10 minutes longer.
I think you can go a little bit longer. I think Angry is on at 9, but I don't know if we're stepping on anybody's toes.
If I'm stepping on Angry's toes, I will. I'll do it.
All righty then.
Well, you got a half an hour.
Our Sixth Amendment. Speedy trial by a jury of our peers with a public defender and all this, and the burden of proof is on the prosecution. You do not have to prove your innocence. They have to prove your guilt.
Correct. Beyond a reasonable doubt.
Now, anyone right now might be thinking that makes a lot of sense, and that's really fair to the defendant, the accused. Have you, as gentlemen, have you ever been like arrested in some legal trouble? Have you seen this play out? How has this worked out for you?
I'll take the 5th. I am pleading the 5th.
Fucking guilty.
No,
hang that motherfucker.
But I've seen it play out.
Hang that bald sumbitch.
And what happens? Hey,
hang him twice, damn it.
But what happens is just because, you look at those high-profile trials, right? Technically, the evidence is to be presented in court. So what do? Other people, proxies, go to the news and they go, well, John over there, he went and he's a chomo. And then John says, no, that person is a fraudster. And they indict each other in the media. And the media won't stop it because they want those clicks, that 1/10 of a penny, but you get billions of those and lots of dollars occur. And lo and behold, you've been indicted. So even if you get acquitted in the court, your reputation, your livelihood your company, it just becomes garbage. It takes you years to rebuild all that. Like for instance, people who've been accused of false abuse or false molestations and other such things. Everyone's like, oh, that guy's, he touched that person or he did whatever. And then, a year later, he gets acquitted. You never see the acquittal on the news. It's like 8 rows down. Oh, Joe Blow was acquitted. He actually didn't do it. She lied. She's going to jail. But in that year, he lost his job. His wife left him,
Nobody reads that far. They read the headline.
Mm-hmm. You legally in the courtroom, that is a binding document. That is a binding contract. But outside of it, unless a judge has the foresight to say, you know what, if you post about this, I'm going to fine you. And I don't know how far that power goes. But if the judge doesn't do that, you'll be decimated before you even get acquitted, even if you are an innocent man. And we've seen it with men and women, with politicians who actually didn't do anything wrong because someone wanted to oust them or get revenge. So it's there in a court, it's binding. But in my opinion, the way the media entity exists today, you could get implicated, indicted, convicted, hung, technically, figuratively speaking, on the social media.
That is by design. Again, when I mentioned that we don't have to lift a finger, you do it yourselves. As soon as there's allegations, even you're guilty until proven innocent. And are you ever really? As soon as that seed is in there, like, ain't nobody trying to hear that we need to hear Jeffrey Epstein's side of the story. You know what I'm saying? This is where we're at, and it's become so easy. We are so controllable. So we are so manipulated to the point that I think that I'm not sitting here trying to act like I am awake to the truth and I'm here to preach to you guys. And I hope I am not coming off like that, because I did not mean to do this. It's that I am so over like being manipulated and lied to. I am in a narcissistic, complicated relationship with the powers that be, and I'm so tired. I feel like an abused like spouse. I feel like I'm, you know what I mean? And it's weasel words. I feel as if I am so over all of it. We have only 6 amendments in here, and you can look up what I'm saying here. I'm not talking out of my ass. I'm not being cynical for no reason. I have been researching this for like a better part of like 2 weeks. These are the facts as I can best present them. And is that there is a loophole in every so-called right that you think you have that makes it so you actually don't have that. And the level of that circumstance differs. But at the end of the day, for every one of them, there is a circumstance existing where actually you are not entitled to that.
Yep.
And we're only 6 in. I can shoot down all the rest of them too. I was appalled by what I found in my research doing this. I looked this up for yourselves, but I'm telling you that I'm not just sitting here one-upping everybody thinking I'm the shit. Okay.
This is an important exercise, especially in the preparedness community, because we do have inventory. We do have certain protective items. I'm trying to be careful the way I say it. We train in certain ways that might be offensive to certain people. And we would be an easy target to, well, that guy, he has the pew-pew and, he shot a milk jug and that scares me. These are important things everyone should be thinking about, because look what happened in New Orleans during Katrina, right? The cops bailed. Guys, NOPD, with the exception of like the Kenner Police Department, which was not anywhere near big enough to patrol Kenner and New Orleans, which is kind of like a suburb. Think of Queens trying to patrol Manhattan. They just didn't have the capacity. there were cops going door to door saying, if you have a firearm, you need to turn it in. And people said no. So they're like, well, we'll have to arrest you. Why are you? I'm on my property with my 12 gauge.
Yep.
And this is documented. As a matter of fact, a lot of National Guard didn't even want to go door to door. They're like, no, we'll go search for the survivors.
Yep.
We're not touching this because that's just hoodoo. And they actually changed Louisiana Constitution. And then Texas did the same to prevent that from ever happening. That if you're on your property and lawfully possessing, they cannot take it. They literally just knocked on people's doors and said, if you have a firearm, we're going to take it. And like, I'm in my own house.
Yeah. No, you're not.
Go arrest the guy who just broke into my neighbor's house and took his TV.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we've seen it. Livingston, this was a good exercise because people need to think of this. And we've seen
Totally.
It's only 6 of them, and I promise you that
7's pretty simple. I promise you, 7's pretty simple.
Yeah, it is.
Now, which one is the 7th? Please refresh.
It's you have the right to a trial by jury, even in a civil matter.
Mm-hmm.
I love this one because now, what do you mean? So, like product safety recalls or in civil suits and this sort of like you're going to sue a corporation, okay?
Yeah,
class action lawsuit.
Yeah.
This brings me right back to forced arbitration. They call this. It's baked into that terms of service. You actually can't do this by hitting that accept button. You probably negated and signed away your right to actually do this.
That's these corporations think that by clicking agrees means you sign away your constitutional rights. What they don't understand is any law or clause written that's repugnant to the Constitution is fucking null and void.
Null and void, correct.
That's how the Constitution is written. That's in that terms of service on the Constitution that motherfucking politicians don't read, Livingston.
Yeah.
Oh, well, sure, Michael. But you know what I do read is that the zeitgeist of the people who do not oppose this, they hit the accept button because it's convenient. They want to access the app. They want the robot lawnmower to work, so they sign it away. And like you said before, we can take this to the Supreme Court. I have more money and lawyers than you. We can do this. It's fine.
See, knows the game. Knows the game.
So you don't really have that either. And that goes all the way. This was the thing, and perhaps you've been stalking around social media, but it's somebody pointed out in the McDonald's app is if you're like die from eating McDonald's food or get like sick, you can't sue them because you use the app to do it. You hit the I accept the terms. Used to be that an illegal contract was an illegal contract, and I hear you when you say that you can't do that and stuff, but I ask you, do you see it being enforced?
It like you said, you got to have the lawyers, you got to have the gusto, you got to have the right people in the right positions to do this. And I think the legal jargon needs to be fixed, right? I think laws need to be written so that the common person can understand them clearly and know if and when they are breaking them. There has to be a clear line there.
And there were actually some Congress people who were saying we need to have single item bills.
Yes.
We're fixing the widget. That's the only thing in the bill. We're not fixing the widget and weapons to Ukraine and money to Israel and political action committees and
100%.
The monkey is running loose in Chicago, whatever.
Tied to essential shit like, oh, well, you have to pass this. You obviously need to pass this, but we have all this junk attached to it. That's old as time. I remember my father complaining about him doing that shit.
Or actually Congress people on both sides saying, this is how we need to do it so people can see it. And those guys absolutely couldn't get it done. They couldn't. They fought. They argued. No, because the lobbyists want their they want their cha-ching.
Us, not you.
Right.
Us.
Well, his corporate overlords, that they're the ones who want it. Because remember, we're an oligarchy. The communists are actually down in Cuba. We stole the president in Venezuela, so I have no idea what government they have right now.
Livingston Man, the Eighth Amendment.
Yeah.
We're back to the legal speak, right? We're back to staying out of jail because you shouldn't.
These guys get interesting. I have specific ways to shoot these down too. So
so it protects against excessive bail, excessive fines, and what you could deem as cruel and unusual punishment.
Indeed. Yeah. Now, this one, the easiest way that we did now, everybody complains about bail reform. So I'll again shoot this one right to the court of public opinion, because now excessive bail, this turns into what does excessive mean? And you will often see this selectively applied to the ones that actually can't afford it.
Well, is excessive the cost of a new vehicle nowadays, Livingston Man? Is excessive the cost of a new home nowadays? What is define excessive, right?
Exactly.
Well, let's posit that like a billionaire is charged with, let's say, sexual assault and is hit with $25,000 bail. That's chump change. He's probably got
correct.
You can't bail yourself out. But when I'm just going to say it. When a black man from the inner city gets caught with a gram of cocaine in his pocket, we're going to set bail at $250,000 because he had intent to sell, and it's a whole big thing. And bail, because the word excessive is wildly subjective. Who are we talking to here? What's this? What is excessive anyway? To Justin,
I survived waterboarding, so I don't care.
I feel like what bail, excessive bail is entirely subjective, so it kind of doesn't matter because what is excessive, and
any bail is excessive. Period.
Yeah,
anything.
That's kind of that's what New York State ruled, but they the judges here take it a little too say liberally.
Certainly. And as to cruel and unusual punishment, okay, yeah, you can't put them on a rack and turn the thumb screws like we talked about before.
They do.
Really wish they would bring this back because it makes shit easier. They would just.
I survived waterboarding. Matter of fact, I set the record. So.
Now, now it's not torture. That's extrajudicial interrogation or something. Yeah. So again, that's. What Trent just said is really to the point of this. Is what you do is you redefine the terms.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what you've seen me do here is not particularly change laws, or foment massive social change, but all I've done is simply redefine the terms. I've moved the goalposts.
Well, or you, like you said, you changed the law. Oh, you committed an act of terrorism as opposed to you were carjacking. If they can affiliate you with X organization, you go to CCOT down in El Salvador, and they shave your head, they shave your face, and you run around with your head down, and if you talk smack, the guards kick the crap out of you. Oh, guess what? That's in El Salvador. Yeah, you had constitutional rights, but not there. Yeah. Because now you're not.
I'm the only one that ever got kicked out of Gitmo.
They were like, nope, get him out of here.
That was easy.
Let's teach me this power.
So number 9, Livingston Man, I think is...
This one's my favorite.
It's probably one of the most important amendments, but it's a tough sell because there's no explanation of what your unenumerated rights actually are, right? Those are the rights that are above and beyond the Constitution. They didn't want to limit your rights to just the ones on the piece of paper. They wanted to let everybody know that you had more rights than just these. These were just cemented in concrete, so to speak. So I'm very interested to hear your take on the unenumerated rights, Livingston Man.
what the founding fathers were trying to do here was that they were worried that if they made a specific list
Right.
of every single right they thought everybody should have, that it was going to either be too long or that it would be systematically loopholed like everything we've talked about already has been. So what they thought was that the Ninth Amendment would be this kind of safeguard against all this loopholing we've done. Constitutional lawyers will tell you that the Ninth Amendment might as well be an ink blot.
Yeah.
That it just doesn't hold up. You can't just be like, I have the right to be naked on the subway right now. Like, no, you fucking don't. And
I think a better sell would be, I have the right to freely travel from sea to shining sea, right? I think that's an easier sell. Like, I don't need a
convention says you can do that. The United States Constitution does not.
Unless you're a wall Martian, then you can run around naked and dirty.
It really boils down to personal.
I'm still
mindset.
upset
Yes,
about
you
the wall
can.
Martians.
You can do anything you want, but there's this whole consequences thing that comes with it. But yes, essentially, in terms of legal in general, the Ninth Amendment doesn't hold up, because this is where you get like the sovereign citizen type of shit, where they just make up like fucking inalienable rights that no, you can't do that.
Wait, but it only counts if you put it all over your car.
What if I just decide I'm going to defecate in the street and I claim my Ninth Amendment?
You're doing that in San Francisco right now.
Are they patriots or are they degenerates, chat?
I don't know. If he's wearing an American flag while he's pooping, does that make him
if you throw it at a politician's house, then you're winning. You're a patriot.
Yeah, I think if he poops at a stupid politician's house, that is a patriotic act.
Amen.
I feel like they call him a liberal. I feel like they'd be like, he's anti. Why do you hate him?
Depends what house he's pooping. I mean,
Trent, I gotta hear you.
They do it in India.
Not about the shit in the streets. I mean, just in general.
Here's my thing on the Ninth Amendment. In who cares? That's my question. Who really cares about the Ninth Amendment? Because whether you say it's this and you say it's that, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because those at the top of the food chain are going to tell us what to do until we, the people, stand up and come together and say, you know what? No, you're not doing that no more, and here's why. I'm sorry. I'm that guy.
Don't you be sorry, brother. No.
Yeah.
I'm pissed. And
rightfully
the
so.
way this world is, this country, forget the world. I'm talking about the Republic of America. Until we, the people, the first three freaking words that the so-called forefathers wrote. And you're hearing it from a guy that wasn't considered to be a relative of the forefathers. Until we come together and say, no, we're tired of it. We're not going to take it anymore. And y'all suck, and we're going to change. So the Ninth Amendment or the 10th Amendment, Ninth Amendment, you make it make sense. I'm done. Let's go.
I agree. It's got to be cemented somehow, extrapolated.
I think if besides the Second Amendment, the Ninth Amendment is probably the most vague and the most open interpretation. It's like, maybe you guys, I see what you were trying to do.
I personally, I think the 10th Amendment is the most vague, because it allows for the type of things that happen here in New York and California and things like that, where the national standard doesn't really hold muster in that neck of the woods.
The 10th Amendment was one of the easier ones to get around, and I'm going to tell you how we did that too.
Send it. I got to hear it.
Tell us, the 10th Amendment, it essentially hands off everything that's not discussed here is up to the states to decide, correct?
Yeah, powers not delegated to the federal government are reserved to the states or the people.
Ha! Really?
Yeah.
Really? The people.
Yeah, that's the part that they leave out. They're like, oh, it's delegated to the state. No, it's delegated to the state or the people. If the people don't agree with the state, then we go back to that whole null and void thing.
But then if they gerrymander your state so only certain views get put into law,
of course,
then they can claim, well, the people, even
though the people voted for this,
5 boroughs,
which
has been carved out conveniently to lean a certain way and provide certain.
Yeah, we're gonna cut your money from the Federal Highway Administration.
We
and you're
keep
not gonna be
those fares low. Don't you worry. You can ride the subway for next to nothing.
They already do. They jump over the
turnstiles
and run away.
We pay for it.
Very important aspect of how we manipulate the 10th Amendment. Withhold federal funding unless compliance is granted.
Yes.
But the 10th Amendment also gives rise to perhaps socially repugnant ideas such as, slavery. The 10th Amendment says the powers delegated to the United States by the Constitution, not prohibited by the states. So some states, now it took the 11, 12, it was the 13th Amendment that outlawed slavery. We're talking about the 10th here. So the states ran with the 10th Amendment, and for better or worse, they did what they chose was what they considered to be their states' rights with it. So the 10th Amendment can, as anything else, be used for evil. But the 10th Amendment ignores the Federal Commerce Act, where anything crossing state lines becomes a federal thing. So sure, your little state can do whatever you want to do over there. But as soon as you try to move it over to this state over here, I can get to tell you what you want to do with it.
Now we're doing interstate trafficking. Okay, sure.
Here's an interesting tidbit from Texas. So, you know how if you have a liquor store in New York, because you can't buy beer in the corner, right? You gotta go to the liquor store to buy.
You can get beer and like hard ciders and things from the gas station.
You have to
Correct.
Go to the liquor store. So in Texas, since we have wineries and we have breweries, quite a few, if you are making a Texas beer like Shiner, St. Arnold's, Tall City Brewery, all those fun lagers we make from all the Czechs and Germans who moved here, and it stays in the state, you only need a Texas license for your bar. If you get Texas wine and sell it in Texas, you only need Texas license in your bar. Once you add the liquor, then you need the ATF. You have no idea how many little joints out here only serve beer and wine, and it's only the Texas brands. Because that's how Texas got around it.
Yeah.
Did anybody else see the total glitch or no?
Oh, yeah. I saw what happened to you, man.
Yeah, you just disappeared.
I'm targeted for a drone strike, probably. Too much truth going on here.
Yankee watchdog. I've never been trafficked.
Not yet. Hey, Rome wasn't built in a day either, so don't worry about it. First time for everything, big dog.
So, safe to say loopholes on both sides, right? I mean, the federal government loves their loopholes as much as they hate their loopholes. If you can use them, use them.
They both close them and open them, but it's hard not to go to. It seems to be that the holes that they open are for their own benefit, and the holes that they close are the ones that were supposed to benefit us.
Right.
If the founding fathers were these legendary freedom-loving, like, do away with this repugnant system, I think the second time I use that word, guys that they really were, then we must deduce that they are rolling in their graves looking at this current system that we have here. As America is on the cusp of its 250th anniversary, I ask you, is the America you see today have anything to do with the America you were taught to think it was?
No. Nope.
Not at all.
And what then do we celebrate?
We don't.
The perceived freedom, the comfort, the complacency, your couch, your lazy boy, your electricity, your Xbox, your cell phone, your connection, your connectivity.
Yep.
That's what we celebrate. We celebrate being a first world nation that has all these things, as opposed to, fighting off lions for my dinner tonight and having to drink muddy water from a puddle somewhere. I consider myself to be word.
Drink muddy water.
When you're from Ohio, you fucking need that.
But it's evolved. America has evolved greatly since its inception in 250 years. We went from horse-drawn carriages to fucking trains, planes, and automobiles, for fuck's sake. We've got planes that hover in the fucking air and just stop. An aircraft that just fucking hangs there in the air and does its own thing. We have advanced civilization. But it seems like their priorities, the governments, lie elsewhere now. The infrastructure, the civilization, the whole thing that they built is crumbling around them while they invest in things other than the infrastructure that's crumbling around them. So I don't know. Where does it go, Livingston Man? How do we get off this ride here?
I don't think that we get off the ride. I think that I'm going to again have to pivot to my brother Trent for the words of wisdom to end this live stream, or else Angry Pepper going to show up and beat my ass for sucking up his subscribers.
Here's the bottom line, folks. This is still the greatest perceived country on the planet. Plain and simple. As jacked up and messed up as this country is, we're going to be all right. Keep focusing on what's best for you and your family. Stick to your morals and your values. That's it. The rest of them, they can kick rocks, go play marbles, or get in the back of our truck and become a product. That's all I got.
Livingston Man, could you do me a favor and roll that beautiful bean footage?
Sure. Let me just click around a whole bunch and make that happen.
He's gonna do it. He's gonna do the damn thing. I feel it. It's
click around and find out.
It's coming. It's coming. Old Mutt, good to see you, my friend. Hope all is well. Scott Hummer, good to see you. Tiger, Jody from Michigan, XNYC, Yardbirds in the house. B Spooky, Miko Wolf, Bonnie's, good to see you. Brooklyn Girl Maggie, the Roaming Preppers in the house. What up, Pete?
Yeah.
No way, Pete's here. Fuck yeah, dude.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
He's
Ladies
here
and
and
gentlemen,
there.
I did not mean to stomp all over your little parchment body armor that you use, but what I wanted to do was soften you up to the fact that it can and will be used against you. Even the basic tenets of our so-called democratically elected constitutional republic.
Mm-hmm.
isn't what it says it is. Just like everything else. Everything in your life, including this podcast, including every persona seen here, including everything you are seeing, anything these days that you do not fully trust and are not intimately familiar with, you need to dump salt on it. If it stimulates your senses, there's a catch. And it goes all the way up. It goes all the way down. And you know how far down it goes? To the point where you in a plastic bag next to the side of the road, me and Trent roll up like, you know where your ass is going. To Ohio. Okay. And I'm going to level with you in case you missed it. Ohio is a euphemism for a human meat processing and packing plant. You will finally achieve the efficiency, that pushing up daisies energy that you have longed for your whole life. You will finally achieve that. It's like the Zen nirvana. Like, we're talking Buddhist shit here. By all means, we will take you and we will ascend you to a higher plane. You will live on. Your energy will flow through others, through us. Keep doing what you're doing, everybody. Go watch Angry Preppers live stream. Let's see him top this one.
Peace.
Peace.
The manor is forever. The lease is forever. Do not resist. Keep scrolling.